Live on YouTube. Hello, everyone. I am very excited to bring you two fabulous women that I met on Mother's Day weekend on the Michael Jaco show. And I'm so happy to have you guys back and together. So I've had both of you separate, but I haven't had you both together. So this is very, very exciting for me. And so I get one question over and over again. How do you do it? How do you stay grounded? How do you get out of the matrix? Why don't people see this stuff? Blah, blah, blah. And it's funny because the reason I named this Leaving Haunted Earth is actually because of you, Jen. I remember listening to you talking about how it's like we're born into a haunted house. And I just took that and made it go a little bit further because it is almost like a game. It's literally like you have to figure it out. It's like Satan's got a lot of territory he's already taken, and I think that for people to be able to have clarity on how to see it, first of all, because there's a lot of people that aren't seeing it, and then how to exit it. And I wanted to share that when I first started life coaching or sharing, my wisdom, my personal experience for people to use, I started with I had been meditating, and all these ideas would come to me while I was meditating. So I started turning them into worksheets. And people, when they came as a new client, would onboard. And one of them was, so there's a whole bunch of questions, and they don't really know why they're answering these questions. They're just answering these questions. And there was one full sheet that just says, like, who in your life anchors you? Who in your life inspires you? Who in your life? And the whole thing is basically a false idols test because you should either be answering me or God. But it showed people how many false idols they had, everything from healing to finance to whatever. They were putting it on other people or other systems, and it really helped them break open. And I think that to keep that in mind in the back of your heads while we're going through this today, because people want to know why people aren't seeing it. And then they also want to know how to get out of it, like I said earlier. And one of the things that I want to ask you both this question. I just want to see what you're feeling. But before I start, I want to explain that if you live in a narcissistic or sick family, and one of the people in the family sees the truth, and they try and tell the other people in the family, they get very, very, very upset. They don't want to hear it. Now, for some reason, we brush that off because it's in a family. But when you think about us as a collective in the United States or in the world, here we are, this family, and there's some of us that are calling out the sick parent that's, either narcissistic or, an alcoholic or whatever they are. But by calling that out, the whole family has to face the consequences. And so everyone just leaves it alone. So that's kind of where we are. So tell me, because this is the thing that I get the most, is why aren't people seeing the obvious? This is common sense. Why can't they see it? Either one of you can start.
Oh my, I feel like you are just in my head right now. Because I was just having this conversation with Girl Code. And it's amazing how these things just right now I'm in this deep headspace of just everything about what women's role is right now. So what you're doing is confirming a lot for me, because that mother bear frequency, that yaya, that granny, that, my sister Sharnael, I just get chills to know that she's been blessed in that area right now. And so she is like this vibrant, my goodness, I don't even know what you call yourself, what you want your children, grandchildren to call you, but it's just so sacred. And the women's frequency right now, the divine feminine. And it's interesting, we all met on a Mother's Day panel.
Yeah.
But we have to transmit culture. And because we are the transmitters of culture, now that the spin is off right now. And I relate a lot of this to knitting and crocheting and spinning. We're spinning the fiber, the tapestry of this universe. We keep it in spin when we are balanced. So we left our place. Women, we have left our place. And I know it's not comfortable to hear, but we've gotten off of our place in society, in the family. And so the invader has taken our place. And so we can't be mad and always just complaining about the invader that's taken our place. We have to come back into our right place and standing and transmit culture correctly, because it's off. It's like what Sharnael and I were going to talk about is the shungite. And, I'm all into like this whole thing about the science of it. And it's like the shungite corrects the spin, the merkaba around you, the energy. And so if we're using something powerful like that shungite to correct the spin, then I see that as the divine feminine has to correct the spin. I'm going to start spinning yarn and fiber. I'm going to be, Sharnael, we talk about going Amish. I know Carmen, I know you resonate on going Amish. Like, come on, ladies. Sharnael painted this inviting picture of just having a village, okay? And just like, we don't want any fools, okay? Please do not apply if you're a village idiot. But like, please, all of the people in their natural mind and want to go back, like you're saying, get out of this haunted house. And you know what? It starts real simple. Get into your natural mind and balance and correct that spin in you, women, sisters, mothers, yayas, abuelas, all of you, whatever you call her, big mama, Medea. We've got to get back to balance. The whole universe is off of balance because the counter narrative is what gets spun. You see it all, like for me, look, I do this for a reason. It all connects to everything.
This being a prayer shawl.
The prayer shawl.
Yeah.
And
I just want to clarify for people that weren't here earlier.
That's right, prayer shawl. And when I knit and crochet, every stitch is a prayer. It's a meditation. And I'm really serious when I say that. And I want to be like an advocate for this, an ambassador, that we get back to something as simple as that. How about we put down some of these things that aren't natural and we start creating our own cottage industries of women that are, I'm no feminist, so I don't want to be accused of that, but I'm talking about women, because I am one, getting back into balance, because I'm a Libra. Sorry, you got to, give me some space here because I'm into that. So it's that we have to get back to natural things, basic foundation.
Absolutely. Beautiful. Oh my gosh, that is so incredible. And when I this morning I was watching Jeff on Right on Radio, and he had Madison on, who had brought this woman who literally is going into the streets helping these girls out of sex trafficking, stripping, whatever. But she gave a diatribe that I think everyone should see. You should go to Right on Radio if you get a chance to watch it. But what it was it's the opposite of stream of knitting, right? Would be throwing pictures of yourself and your booty on social media. And she says, every day people are asking me how can I help? How can I help? You know what? You can take your own filth off of your own social media. And if that's the only sacrifice you make, then you have absolutely improved society. And I was like, bravo, girl. But that's how they sometimes find people too. So that's beautiful. I love that.
Thank you.
And then how about you, Dr. Sharnael?
Yes. And first of all, thanks for having me. I love you both so much and honor you guys and respect you guys. And it's just so cool to hang out. For me, if the mindset is we're coming into a haunted house, then that's what you get, because you only get what you are. So when and I'm not saying that I haven't been there, and it does take discipline. The word discipline comes from disciple, meaning as we remember that we ignite Christ in everyone we contact, then that's what we get. And so, we incarnated here to occupy. Jen was talking about occupying space, and that has been like, of course, on my radar too. And I just talked about this a couple of days ago. If you sweep the house clean, then you have to replace it. You don't have to, but you get to. And if you don't replace it, then guess what? Something else comes 7 times worse, right? And I speak on scripture from a quantum science level, not from necessarily, whatever. But space is space, and to occupy space means we have the opportunity when we incarnate to come take the space of every high place that there is and occupy. We are commissioned to occupy. We are co-missioned to occupy. And I love, this morning, Jen and I talk about this, the inspiration we get in the morning, and I hear more probably between like 4 and 7 than ever. I get up early sometimes, not like Jen, but many, many times I'm texting and we're like up at the same time. And I heard this morning harmony. And I'm really looking into that word because to me, we're in this integration process constantly of harmonizing. And no matter what the lower vibes are, us as men, women, truthers, awake people, whatever, with the mindset of this is our occupation, this is our commission, this is me as a light being who's here to occupy God in this space. No matter what the lower vibrations are, there's going to be some integration. And what's interesting as women specifically is when we are pregnant with a female child, that female actually carries all the eggs that she will ever have forever. So we are carrying both the daughter and any future beings that will come from that daughter if she has birth. So that harmonizing time during pregnancy for us is huge. Like we can take that time to really stabilize and hold as much as possible. And once the child is born and or the grandchildren, if there was an autopsy on any woman on the face of the earth, they can actually find any partner they had ever been with, have a DNA match, and any child they ever carried, male and female, by blood work, and also it's held in the brain. So some of it you can do without being dead. You don't have to have an autopsy. You can actually go and see if you had a partner that cheated based on them being with you, which is just testing their DNA. So, and your DNA for matches. So anyway, all that being said, as mothers, we are carrying even more because as we move and shift and go inward to shift us, that means we're also shifting everything that we ever carried and every partner that exists because they're still there. And that DNA has a quantum effect on DNA of wherever those people are externally. Just like when you take a cell and you send it to space, you can do whatever you want to the cell, and it will scientifically be proven that it affects the cell up there at the same time because there's no separation. And so, yes, we are one as a planet and as being in the image of God. We have that too, but also on a molecular structural science level, which I know you guys love all the science. Yeah. We as women have this power to create, to birth, and to also ignite as we work inside anything that's ever connected to us. So not only do we have the union of the world, but also the field that we project to, but then on a cellular basis, that's why if it seems hard, sometimes it feels hard. It's because you're working for so many. We as women are working for so many, and it's not hard because that's a mentality, that's a program. Everything is instant. There's no time and space. It's only hard if we create it to, just like the haunted house matrix. It's like we are here and we're just here to shine and radiate like the sun, or we're here to be a sponge and suck up everything that's around us. And, the sun's up there, it's blasting, it's radiating. You could throw rocks at it. You could be yelling at it, do whatever. The sun isn't not changing. And, maybe a cloud gets in front of it or something, but you know, or we can be a sponge, and anytime someone offends us, we're upset and we take it personal and we're just like, and like we let it affect our mission and our purpose. And, you know, I'm not saying I'm perfect, because I mean, the trolls are like major, and, you know, harmonizing and staying in my radiation and my purpose is, you know, great. And they know that they try to kick us out of our role. But it's interesting that you said the thing about, you know, your list that you
The
have
false idol list, yeah.
when I first got into ministry, I had a guy who had been in for a long time, and he's actually a very recognized, prominent, quote, celebrity type minister, and very heavy in politics. And he had like a private meeting with me at the beginning of all this, because, you know, I had tattoos and piercings, and, you know, I was on TV, and, you know, I had my own show like on television in three networks at that time. And he sat me down like super concerned and was like, you know, hey, you know, who do you, if you could be anyone, who would you want to be? Like, I mean, just so we are on the same page, I'm just trying to understand. And my answer was nobody. Like, I just would like to be me, as me, in the highest possible way that I am already. Because why would, and he was just stumped. And he's like, oh no, I mean, like, as far as people on TV and evangelism and, you know, God people, you know, like, I'm just pick someone, and I'm just trying to understand where you're headed or who you're trying to. And I was like, again, me, there's not any confusion here. Why would I try to be someone else when they're doing that job pretty cool, and I have my authentic way that isn't going to be like anyone else, on purpose, because I was created differently on purpose, because that's what all of us are, is cells of God, individually and then as a collective. And so that blew his mind, and, you know, bless his heart. And also, I don't, you know, it's interesting because when we do give, when we're trying to be like someone else, we're actually missing the point of being who we are and why we're called to commission and occupy in the first place. And authenticity is felt, it's tangible, it's real. And when you walk in your activated, authentic self, that's what ignites the field. That's what shifts the earth. And that is why we were all called to be here in this time and in this season, to transmit, to harmonize, to upgrade the world. We're born for right now, on purpose, now in this season, to do the thing that we're supposed to do. They didn't pick the other people from 2 centuries ago. We didn't pick to go back then. We're called for now in this time. So it's not hard. This is fun, and this is easy. And this is what we're born to do. Like, so do the thing that you're born to do, right?
She's questioning the premise, which is something that I literally teach everyone who is in a sick relationship, because they're always being offered up something to push their button. And if they can look at the premise. Well, let's look at the premise. Is it haunted? Is the earth haunted? Or is it just your view of the way the world is? And is it you not exalting God and exalting these other false idols? And so I love how Jen brought it back to doing the things that it is our identity to do. And then how that's basically the same thing you said. She said it as a collective female, and you said it as an individual. That authenticness is really, really, really important. I wrote down 2 quotes for today that I think are just sum up the whole thing. One is 2 Corinthians 10:5. We demolish arguments, every pretension that sets itself up against the knowledge of God, and we take captive every thought and make it obedient to Christ. And so when you take every thought captive and you put it through the sift, you know, what are you getting? And that goes back to, okay, are you really in a haunted earth? And if it is haunted to you, then how do you now assess that? I'll let you go, Jen.
Wow. We are just resonant, and I have to say, so harmonized. It just gives me chills, because what you're saying, Sharnael, is so in my heart. And, Carmen, we are just absolutely speaking the same language and singing from a songbook of humanity, unity. It's just powerful. So, when you were saying that, Sharnael, about, the girl children having all the eggs that they would ever have, and then you go back a few generations, it reminds me of and I may mispronounce it, I should have known, the Matryoshka dolls. These are the Russian nesting dolls.
Oh, yeah.
So I instantly get these pictures when,
That's so cool. I love that.
That is so good.
so I just got that right there. And you know how beautiful they are. Like, you can just really get into a whole hobby with these Matryoshka. I think it's Matryoshka. So I just think about, okay, Carmen, this is the thing about like the haunted earth aspect. When you were that's a powerful, title. And the fact that I was just talking about being a disruptive mother. Imagine that. You're a mother who's disruptive, who's not well behaved. Okay. You're the mother that goes up to the school because, hey, you're out really not into your child walking around a cemetery for Halloween activities. You're not okay with that. But somehow you're the mother that's crazy because you come up to the school and say, okay, I get that you're doing a little Halloween thing for the kids. You really don't like it because you're kind of legalistic and you're a Christian walk at the time. So you're already like, we don't celebrate Halloween. How about that? So I'm painting a story here.
You're good.
You're going to the school office and they're like, as soon as they see you, they're like rolling their eyes like, here she comes again. Here she comes. What is she about to do now? She's got an issue. She's crazy. She has an issue with you parading the children around that are in kindergarten. How about that? Because your Episcopal school, and I'm not coming down on all Episcopals, but your Episcopal, beautiful little, kind of artsy fartsy little school over here is also the grounds of a cemetery. So this is just a cute idea that you want to parade the children around in their costumes. And these are little children walking in a graveyard. And you kind of have a problem with it. So now you're the disruptive mother. So my point in saying that, I'm the disruptive mother, okay? I don't know where I'd be right now. And I feel for you mothers that have children that are small right now, because I would be in someone's jail, because there's no way. When I go in the supermarket, it takes every angel in my detail security team to keep me from snatching masks off of children and slapping their mother. Okay. I do everything in my head that maybe I'm working it out, like, Jennifer, don't do it. Don't go to the crazy side. Don't do it. Okay. It's hard. It's really hard to watch what we are watching, and down to the being the disruptor. It's okay. See, this is what we have to stop being afraid of what people think of us. Yeah, no, this is my child. This is the school I'm entrusting to keep my child safe while I'm out here trying to chase a paycheck, which we shouldn't have been doing. That was the problem with the third wave feminism that made us go and chase money. So we're out there chasing money and position. Meanwhile, these people are parading our children around in graveyards in kindergarten. And I'm sorry, I have a problem with it, okay? I'm just crazy that way. And when I try to explain to these people who I'm thinking these are people at a church, hello, I'm sending my child to a church school. And you're telling me that this is what you're doing with my child. You're going to have them going through. So I have to explain all the things about the scary parts of Halloween. And that has always been a challenge to me. And I stick out, and, a lot of people don't like it. It's disruptive to their comfort. And I just have to say, too bad, because even down to your teenagers. And I know this is going to, ruffle people, but I never got, why do we want to be scared? on like Halloween. And why? Like, I'm from Philadelphia, where they turned a prison. Can you imagine? This is one of the most early prisons in America. Or was a psych hospital, but it's so super spooky. It looks like something out of, Wes Craven's or something.
Wow.
And they turn this into every year. Oh, it was a penitentiary. You can look it up. Eastern Penitentiary in Philadelphia. They turn this old penitentiary into a haunted house that is like, probably blows away a lot of haunted houses in various cities. And a lot of people would love to go. You're kind of in the in crowd. You're cool when you're teenagers and you want to go to Eastern Penitentiary's haunted house. I never liked that. I never wanted to be scared. I didn't understand, why are we doing that? And then when you have children going through these things, what are we doing? That's my only thing to be a disruptor, is I'm just asking the question, is this really a good idea? Can we rethink this? And can more of us become disruptive? Because sometimes we're a little tired of being the only crazy mom. Can I get a few crazy moms to like lock arms with me, and we go into the office together and say, no parading children in graveyards? How about that? Can we start there?
Beautiful. And it is saying no. And it's funny because God, or Moses, took the people out of Egypt, right? They were in slavery. He took them out into the desert, which is where we have to go. You have to go to the desert to get off of these idols, to get off of the things that you're clinging to on the outside that you think are sustaining you. And you have to go alone into this desert. But what happens is, a lot of times people still think they're slaves, even though they're out of bondage physically. They're not out of it mentally. And I think that's where a lot of people are. And it is saying no. And it is saying, I'm done. And it is stop telling me what to do, and standing up for yourself. And it is hard, because you risk people not liking you, but you gain what you guys were talking about, and that's authenticity.
Well, for me, going back to what you said, is we demolish arguments and every pretension that sets itself up against the knowledge of our God, and we take captive every thought and make it obedient. Let me break that down for you. I have this in my book, and it's one of my favorite.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, and I just sent it to you, by the way. So we demolish arguments. Demolish means completely obliterate. I mean, it's like nothing left, right? We demolish arguments and every pretension. The other word you can use there is imagination, that sets itself up against the knowledge of God, meaning anything that isn't God, anything that's less than love, which is sin, because sin just means not getting the target, which is love, God. When we demolish every argument or every imagination that's counter to truth, which is God, who is love, then, and we replace it, we make it obedient. How do we make it obedient? We have to change it up. You have to replace it with something else, because again, it's space. So if we just like try not to do it, and I'm going to like just work on this to not do this thing or not think about the thing, you're spending the energy already thinking about the thing.
Yeah.
So if everyone like, don't think about pink elephants right now, okay? Just really try not to. Don't think about pink elephants. You're putting that same energy, and you're already thinking, now you're thinking about pink elephants.
Mine's
You weren't
cute.
even like a minute ago, but now you are, because that's how our minds work. And so if our expectation is that when I speak my truth and my authenticity, then I'm going to get a reaction or a response, or I'm going to trigger people, then guess what? We do. But if my expectation and or my mandate is God is in my cells, who is truth and love, and I demolish every imagination or false God that sets itself up against God, and I replace it, and that is my expectation, that everywhere I go, I ignite Christ and truth in my path, I am accepted already everywhere I go, then you're clearing this path and creating this way for anywhere you show up, that people don't even need words to be on the same page with you anymore, because they're going to submit to your lowest common denominator. And if your common denominator is love, then guess what? Love will show up every single time. It's all about belief systems. And going back to what you were talking about with, why don't people see? Why don't, what's going on?
Yeah.
Is my decree is I see, I am God's eyes seeing truth now, and so is my world. And that's my truth. And as
Good.
long when I remember that, I get
Yeah.
great results.
Yeah.
When I don't, then I run into these people who are like, no matter what you say, it's like a brick wall. And
That's beautiful.
I think that part of some of this is because whether it's a narcissistic family or different beliefs or all the, pick a thing.
Right.
When we present truth, or if we do, if we're pointing out something that maybe has been a part of their life for however long, they actually may see it and or could go research it. But if they do, then that makes them wrong. It's like people are connected to their beliefs so much that they will fight to be right, no matter if they're even wrong, because they don't want to be wrong. And for me, I don't give a shit if I'm wrong. Like, I will put something out, and if 5 minutes later I find out that I'm wrong, I will take it down and go, oops, I was wrong. Here's the thing. Because I'm not attached to any ideas. Like, I just have this like very loose, and you guys are the same. I've seen you do it. I've seen you say, whoops, sorry. And then you put out the real truth. And there are things that I didn't agree with, 3 weeks ago that I'm like, oh, well, maybe I was wrong about that. And I'm fine, but I'm not attached to any belief, because there's so many over time that I had been fed and bought that were actually exposed, that especially in this last like 5 years, that so much has come out, and I'm like, wow, that too, oh my God, this too, oh my God. And then the evidence to back it. As a scientist, I'm looking at truth with evidence. And when I see the evidence, it's kind of hard to disprove evidence, but the people who don't want to look at evidence are people who are so held on to the belief that they don't want to look bad. They have no humility, and they care more about their reputation than they actually do the truth, and or they're bought. If money's involved, or maybe they're threatened. I mean, we just had some bills here in our state that were all passed by the House, everything passed, and then the governor vetoed it. Well, now we have a historic session going on right now as we speak. That's never happened in all of this time in this state, where we have got a session to get together to override what the governor said, and the Speaker of the House is not wanting to bring the bill up. And someone was like, well, you should talk to him, you should, speak, I'm like, why wouldn't he want to bring the bill up? He's a representative, which is the actual job that he has, to represent the people. And someone's like, well, I think that people don't, he's not doing it because he didn't see that it was important, not enough people supported it. No, we already voted, the people already spoke, and that's the whole point of being a representative. If we already voted and we spoke and it passed, then that should be enough for him to also go stand there. So what is the what am I missing here? And so again, standing up, being, providing, commissioning, occupying, it takes action. And it doesn't have to be hard. It just is. So if, even they've tested, and just the conscious language of saying it's hard creates tumors in the body, because the subconscious says, oh, okay. And it just starts building that, because you just said it. If you're on a computer and you type up blah, 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 and you hit delete by accident and all your book is gone, or all what you wrote is gone, or your email or whatever, the computer doesn't go, oh crap, she just had a bad day and she didn't mean to do that. Your subconscious is literal. So what you say, your body will start to move. And it's that way on a collective too. So it's just going back to perspective, staying, discipline to stay, courage to stay, remembering your courage that's already in the DNA when we surrender to it, and being.
It's good. The second one that I wrote down was Hebrews 1:9, and it says, you have loved righteousness and hated wickedness. Therefore, God, your God, has set you above your companions by anointing you with the oil of gladness.
Wow.
And I think this is something that people think that circumstances create that, and it is actually your mind that does, you know. And Dr. Sharnael, you taught me this, and I've been telling everybody, to guard your heart means to be aware of your heart. Well, your heart is, everyone thinks that's it, but it's what guards it is your awareness. And where's that? It's in your head. And so if you can really and truly take every thought captive, then you can create that oil of gladness. And it's an actual oil that is secreted from your endocrine system that allows for this dopamine hit or this PEA hit or whatever it is.
Yes. Wow. So powerful. My goodness, this is amazing. And that's the space I'm in right now. I've been feeling that whole need for the mothers. It's all about like this mother frequency, this mama bear, because it starts with protecting the voiceless as well as the vulnerable, because the elderly factor in there as well. Because yesterday at the supermarket, I was wondering when I walked in the door, I get a readout right away, like, okay, what's the temperature in this place, in this space? Okay, what am I about to walk into? And you know what I've been doing? It depends on the size of the market. I don't need a big audience. If I go into the little markets and I'll say, hi, everybody, you know, everybody's like doing their checkout stuff and it disrupts them. They're like, okay, well, she said, hi, is that a bad word? Hi, everybody. And I give them a blessing. How are you doing? And they kind of look like, oh, the crazy ladies come in. And what I was doing for a while, I just might yell out, when is the manager going to let you all breathe again? And, you know, they all laugh. But I'm really fighting for these people. I don't like seeing them in the mask. So if I can do it in a fun, goofy way, I don't mind looking crazy.
Yeah.
I don't mind. You guys already know this. So I'll say, I hope your manager lets you all breathe again. And they look, and, you know, behind those masks, they are happy that someone's speaking, because someone looked at me, poor little, I mean, I don't want to say poor little, because I do have to watch those things too. But one of the employees, younger, you know, lady, she looked at me and I could read her eyes, like, thank you for even saying this, because who says it? You know, I could read what she was saying, and I'm like, you know, no problem. I don't mind being the crazy woman. And, you know, and I might even yell out, I was yelling out a couple of weeks ago about Fauci. He lied about everything, everybody, and they laugh. But, you know, it's like, I'm making them laugh, you know, but my conversations are up decibels because I want this to be heard, especially if I feel led to say it. I'm going out on a limb, I guess you could say, looking crazy, but I think a lot of us don't mind looking crazy, because like you were saying, you know, Sharnael, you were saying that if you are not invested in how you look, your public image, your, I don't know, your oath to some secret society, maybe that some of us, not us, but other people have made, that they have to come to that point where they have to denounce some things. And that's hard because, like you said, Sharnael, I think that most of us, I'm going to say this, we're like New Yorkers, okay? Everybody's like a New Yorker. This is the principal city of our country, let's just say. So New Yorkers are known as, you know, smart. You can't fool a New Yorker. You can't fool them with the 3-card money trick on the street. You know, when they were doing that back in the 80s, oh, New Yorkers are walking by, they're just doing their normal thing. The only people falling for the 3-card money are the tourists, okay? They're up, but they're just losing their money, falling for the okie doke. But the New Yorkers already know, they know the game. You all know that they're darting in and out, they're down the subways. The energy is like, nobody's gonna get me. But really, what happened even to New York, they've lost their spirit. 9/11 killed the spirit of New York. Like that street smartness that they've had, it's been replaced by fear. They've been attacked. And so what I'm saying by saying that is, nobody wants to fall for the 3-card Monte. Nobody wants to be the mark, the sucker. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to admit that you fell for, you entered a cult, maybe you know, you went and bought some Nikes and you were following the, you know, what's his name with the guy, you don't want to be that Jim Jones. We even have these are common things that we use in our lexicon, and that's to think about it. These are thought forms that turn into words that instantly we know what they're packed with, and what they're packed with is you are getting hammered down because you're sticking up. And we want you to shut up because you're disrupting our matrix by telling us these things. We don't want to hear from you anymore. And so that's what it is, that you're not going to be welcomed with this, because it shows that we all fell for the 3-card Monty. Some of us are okay. Like if I went to New York and I just thought, oh, maybe this is my day, I might win the stuff. If I just did it for the kicks and giggles and I lost, I might post that on social media. I just got had by the 3-card Monty, everybody, and I can laugh at myself, but sometimes it's not funny. I'm not trying to make it a light thing, because if someone has pledged themselves to high degrees of some secret handshake society, that's not going to be an easy thing to admit. That you thought they were doing only community service, and now you've been invited to learn the esoteric side of it, and now you're like, oh, is this what we're up to? And that's been the thing with a lot of things in this matrix. It starts out as the haunted house, maybe fun and games, you're walking through the graveyard, but what is really in there that they are, I say they, we all know who they are, but what is that matrix designed to do to us if we care so much about maintaining the looks of whatever it is, you know?
Beautiful. I always love how you bring in these like homespun stories. They're just awesome.
Thank you. That's funny. Spun. I just, I'm telling you all, the whole spinning thing is calling me, I just want to just say this in regards. I really am going to be an ambassador here for this whole aspect of fiber arts. We want to learn this again, ladies. And you know how Sharnael said, don't say it's hard. I've always told people that I'm about to teach this art to. When they say it's hard, that's it. You're not going to learn it. You've already shut yourself down. I used to have a ministry at church, which I called Knit Two Together. And I was teaching knitting, and there was a little girl who came, her mother dropped her off. Now, her mother didn't want to stay because she couldn't be bothered learning knitting. It's only for grannies, remember? So her daughter heard about my ministry and wanted to come. Go figure, the child wanted to learn it. So she dropped her off and she was about to leave. And this is what she says to the little girl. Now the little girl's got her knitting needles. She's about to get in front of me because I do the mirroring thing. They get in front of me. You know what her mother does? She says, I would never sit down and do that. It's so hard. Oh my God. And then she leaves to do whatever, I don't know, drink wine with her friends, because this is when I lived in LA. I knew a bunch of wine moms. I don't know, okay? But my point is, I wanted to wring her neck for doing that. She totally messed up her daughter, because guess what? Her daughter couldn't get it. Everything she kept doing, she kept messing up. I could really, Sherpa you right into this fiber art if you don't start with, I can't do it and it's too hard. And a child is definitely not going to enter it that way. But yeah, mom did that. So that's why I'm trying to tell you, mama bears, you are the ones that transmit culture, belief, everything. We've got to wake up from this hibernation. So the spinning, we got the counter spinners, they're out there spinning. And we didn't know the narrative people were spinning against us. Right. And they got this whole universe spinning counter to what it should spin. So Mama Bear, get up and don't care how you look, because you're helping to get this spun the right way, coming into your proper position. And that has nothing to do with feminism, has nothing to do with it. It's a proper balance. That's what it is.
That's right.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
I think it comes down to love. It goes back to love, who God is. God is love. And love has a vibration, but love is a frequency on its own. And that love, when we carry love and when we remember it, it goes into the DNA, and it does do this integration. There's an integration process. And, talking about the crazy one or being the disruptor, I mean, for me, love looks like a lot of things, including having boundaries and standing up for what's right. And, people can say whatever and go, oh my gosh, I can't believe, or whatever, or I believe the same thing you do, but I'm not going to say anything because of whatever thing. And it's like, so you don't have love, you don't remember the boundaries, whether it's a family member or a situation, consciously or collectively or whatever the situation is. Love is still love, and love is, being. And when you talk to Carmen about wickedness, it's like, it's not about the people being,
Right.
bad. It's what
Yes.
they're doing. It's the vibration, the lower vibration. It's the fear. It's the manipulation. It's the control, which is a 55 on scalar waves. And I'm with Jen on the whole fear thing. It's like, I don't pay to watch scary movies. I don't pay to watch any movie where the dog is going to die because, for me, why pay someone to make me sad when there is enough automatic things going on in the world that can already try to entice me into that vibration? And I'm up here doing love, doing the love boundary, doing the love code, doing love, and taking that discipline again from disciple, meaning every thought, holding every thought captive, meaning I could say and have one thought right now, and then 2 seconds later have a different thought. And I'm like, oh, stop, repent, meaning this is the headmaster up here, and this is the penthouse. And to repent means to think again, change what you're thinking into something else. And so, fear, to replace fear with love on a constant, if you got to do it a million times an hour, whatever it takes to stay and to be, because again, whatever you focus on, you make room for. So all those thoughts, all those things you're talking about, anything that you're feeling goes into the field, and then you're going to get a match. So the more we can remember I am and I can, because I can't is not God at all. God would never say I can't, and God is in me. God would never say I can't. And also scientifically, saying I can't cancel clear actually creates phlegm in the body, which forces the body to not be able to move properly or drain lymphatically or breathe correctly. So when I catch myself saying, oh my God, I can't do that, cancel clear, I clear it, I cancel it. And also I repeat loud and clear, I am and I can. And when I say I am, I mean all the names of God, who is love in me, who's abundance, who's peace, who's intelligence, who is God, name everything that he is. Shalom, nurturing, everything.
Truth. Yeah.
Yeah, truth. So, again, it takes practice, maybe, if you're not accustomed to speaking consciously and behaving consciously. But when we do, we get some really good, awesome results. And I'm not saying it's like conspiracy theories anymore. I'm saying it's spoiler alerts.
Right.
Everything that has been out in the last year has been proven now.
Absolutely happened. Yes, absolutely
So
happened.
it's, how can anyone even say? But they whatever, try to label or whatever, and it's like, good luck with that. I mean, someone just said to me, a troll, whatever, I had mentioned something about the V and the harm because they want children under 8 to get it and or wear a max or show proof that they have the V to even enter this place. And I was like, do your due diligence, posted some things. And this person came back and said, you're not a real doctor, you're a quack. And I was just like,
well, you're not a real doctor. You're not a real Christian. What are you anyway?
That's just hilarious to me, lady, who I don't know where your job is or how much school you've had, but it's just, that didn't touch me at all because
Right.
I know that I am and I can. And I don't know what's going on with her to say something like that. God bless her heart.
Wow.
And also,
but you also have to look at literally everything that isn't exalted to God is an exaggeration of deception.
Yes.
It's literally like there's this exaggerated deception, and it's this big wall that people, and as we buy into it, we feed it, as basically what you're saying, Dr. Sharnael. So
what I would like to hear what your response is to that as far as your question.
The one about how to do it?
Yeah. Like, how do
Yeah,
you do it?
so basically, I try to keep everything as simple as possible. What, like you did too with love, like, and then Mama Bear, simple, like this is my identity and this is how I do it. But I always boil everything down to, am I looking to the outside for people and things, or am I looking to the inside with me and God? And then to me, there's only like, I wrote the list down. There's joy, freedom, truth, faith, peace, hope, and love. And if even some of those are the same, because if you have peace, you obviously are free. But let's go ahead and say that there's these. Then that means I have to remove fear. That means I have to get this get in a place of having desire, because if you don't have hope, you don't have desire, nor do you have the expectation that it'll come true. So you have to start looking at your hopes, and then you have to find chaos and bring order to it. And chaos can even just be like you were talking about earlier, being out of balance. And then deceptions, they're everywhere. My best friend, when people ask me who my best friend is, I tell them truth, because I promise you, it shows up like a freaking friend. It brings me people. People who aren't truthful aren't even attracted to me now. It's gotten that intense. Like, that friend is so powerful. It's become like a force. And then bondage is a choice. I learned that the hard way, being a victim for years and years. And once I started letting go of that bondage, the beast was gone. And then the last thing is, if you find yourself in tribulation, trials, or misery, then you use your weapon of joy. Joy is an actual weapon. And so, it's a lot easier to be made fun of for laughing at inappropriate times than it is to, recover some absolute sins of hatred and vile acts. I'm not wicked. People might criticize me or be upset about the things that I do, but I'm not wicked. And going back to the last one, the Hebrews, about the gladness of oil, I really did dig down into righteousness, and righteousness just means it is the right way to do something. It is genuine and it is excellent. I'm very attracted to all those things without being pious. Like, I never call somebody out on not being the kind of Christian that they should be, or criticize somebody because of their beliefs. I think that all things lead to Christ if you're allowing them, as long as you're knocking. And then back to what you said about the wickedness, the hate. If you're hated, then that means that if you hate something, you treat it as an enemy. And that goes back to the wickedness is the enemy, not the person.
Okay.
And so that's kind of how I like to keep it simple and just focus on the things that keep the vibration up, basically. And people don't like that word when they're Christian, but a vibration is just a choice on the spectrum of where you are as far as emotional things go. And I really wanted people to, I had two scripture pieces that had to do with what we were talking about, but then I also had two leaving people with how to handle the enemy. And I also, if you guys have time, I understand, if someone has to jump off, but in Leviticus it says, I will grant peace to the land, and you will lie down, and no one will make you afraid. I will remove the wild beasts from the land, and the sword will not pass through your country. And then the second one is Proverbs 16:7. When the Lord takes pleasure in anyone's way, he causes their enemies to make peace with them. This has literally happened to me. I had 5 women that just couldn't stand me for some reason. And out of the 5, 4 of them have come back into my life as friends. One has made peace with me.
Nice.
And not my friend, but she still made peace, which was nice of her. But I do believe these things happen, and I think that I would love Dr. Sharnael or you, Jen, to rename what haunted earth really is, because I really feel that when you overcome these things and you go through that brave times of being told no when you tried to disrupt things,
Mhm.
you then can lay and you can sleep and you're not afraid, and there's no sword that can come against you, not even the tongue.
Mhm. Amen. Well, you know what name I would give it is the cave. You know, the whole story of the cave. This is the cave, the dark night of the soul, where we all realize maybe we're not as savvy of a New Yorker as we thought we were. We fell for we drank the Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
Okay, everybody drank the Kool-Aid, and some are still sipping on it. Not you right now. Just as I said that, you're
I
sipping.
know, that was funny. I was thinking the same thing.
No, she's sipping on the oil of gladness over there. but but what I mean is, like, you can decide to, like you're saying, be the authentic self, yourself, because like you said, Dr. Sharnael, everybody else is taken, all those roles are taken, and those people have been in those roles a long time, and some of them aren't even playing their actual roles. So why would you even want to be them? Because they're pretending to be somebody else. It's a whole big inception thing. So because you don't really even know who they are, why are you wanting to be anybody? So it's no other choice but to be your true self when you come down to coming out of the cave and realizing, oh, the shadows in the cave were shadows. So all of that stuff all along, if I had gotten out of the cave, like some people invited me, you know, they were Sherpas trying to help you get out, you know, here's the light, we come this way. And no, you don't want it. You want to stay in the cave because you're in there with cave dwellers. You know, they like it in there. They're scared. They love their fear. It's something virtuous about being fearful right now. So when you bring virtue to where it really should be, and, you know, you're bringing up Proverbs, which is all
That is
about wisdom.
good.
You know what I'm saying? It's like you bring up the woman back to the spinning. She holds the spindle and the distaff. She holds it. And guess what? Her family is clothed in scarlet. They are not afraid when the winter storms come because she can go to the merchant's ships and she can sell her wares from her hands. And guess what? The men in the city will call her husband blessed because she is a virtuous woman. She has a household that rises in the morning and blesses her. It doesn't mean that they're sitting here, oh, mama, oh, mama. You know, no, you are blessing your mother when you honor her. And guess what? This has to come back, period. This is what I am all about right now. I want that Jezebel spirit to be killed for good.
Yeah.
We don't want it anymore. Like you were saying, that whole, they got the twerking, they have all this stuff. Kylie's got the lips and she got the lip kit that has the thing. It looks like a vampire biting something. What in the world? We let all this go. So your teenagers were out there buying lip kits from Sephora, and you were okay with that, and you're okay with the makeup being called bitten, and a whole woman who calls herself a vampire is creating makeup. This is beauty. So guess what? Let's take beauty back, because a lot of times, Carmen, and I'm not saying that the 5 women were, you know, we can always say you're jealous of you because you're beautiful, but they probably were. I don't care if they get mad at me. I'm just going to say it. Okay. But the thing is when you walk in a beauty, and it's not always just aesthetically, just period, but when beauty is recognized by that darkness, because they answer to the author of death, not life. And life is beautiful. It's nothing wrong with being beautiful. We have to stop letting our daughters destroy their beauty, for one. Let's get back to beauty, for one, because you even look at this, you know, we don't even want to call it a right, left, Republican, Democrat. This is right and wrong. And when you look at those banshees that holler at us, and they tell us that we're not right, but we should, somebody, let me tell you, I got an email the other day. This is my first email I ever got from this company. I was buying a book from one of these little indie startups, and, you know, they're young and everything. The guy got back to me because I had a customer service issue, and he sent me an email, very nice email, but he told me what his pronouns were. Well, your name is Andrew. I kind of knew what your pronoun was. I'm tired of being told I'm wrong. If your name is Andrew, I'm figuring you're a boy. Is it anything wrong with me? I'm a bad person right now. So this is what we have to do. We have to stop caring what this crazy, insane group who loves ugliness and death, but at the same time, they're afraid of death. And they want to tell us that beauty is wrong. And sometimes women get caught up in that frequency of envy when they see beauty emanating from a woman. She cares about the way she looks. She's feminine. She doesn't want to look like a man. And then somehow she's targeted. I used to see that happen growing up in Philadelphia. It was a girl and she had long hair. She could sit on it. Do you know there was a gang of banshee girls that would meet her after school, harassing her? And guess what? One day they got a hold of this girl. I can remember hearing the story. They cut her hair off. They got her and cut her hair off. And I'm thinking, did you feel good that you cut her hair? Now she's coming to school with this short hair. Her mother had to get her hair cut to match what they did to her. But this is the ugliness that can happen when it's bound up in the hearts of people that feel that they covet something that's not theirs. And it's all out of that energy, like you said. It is that low vibration. And we have to get back to the oil of gladness. The mama bear brings the whole balm of Gilead. How about we take the balm that we all have and become the medicine women and warriors? Because I'm not putting my sword down yet. I can treat you and I can harm you at the same time. A double-edged sword. But, I'm just saying we have to bring that healing, and it can come in so many ways. Like for me, I'm an ambassador for this because I know what it can do to your body, your brain. And what about the fact that you're creating something, a child? Imagine you teaching the children to do this. My aunt taught me to do it when I was little. This might keep some of your daughters off of her back trying to make money. How about that? If you teach them a skill that goes along with that feminine energy, maybe she doesn't feel like she has to sell herself in any way because she's trying to keep up with the Kardashians, So I'm just saying there's something about creating with our hands. We have to get back to that creating, because that goes along with the economics of America. If we're going to come back, Betsy Ross, let's make some flags. Let's create again. And let's start to make handmade goods in America, made by your hands. What's wrong with it? I'm just saying. We need seamstresses. We need patriot people that make shoes. We need everything. We have sold everything to other people who hate us.
And they're horrible quality too.
Very horrible quality.
I miss that really good quality, that we used to get. It was, they would last for years and years.
Yes.
And, it breaks my heart too, that either one of you have people that get on you for anything. I do too, but I don't know. It bothers me more when I see it with other people, especially people that I feel that are so beautiful and come on my channel and you're doing me a favor and being sweet to me. And I just want people to understand that we don't have to agree with everything someone says, but I am absolutely in agreement with their resonance. It's literally beautiful. And the people that want to reprove people, please go after the ruthless. It literally says so in Isaiah 1:17, reprove the ruthless. Stop going after the low-hanging fruit of, this person's doing that or that person's doing that or she pulled out shungite or whatever it is. Come on, let's go after and reprove the ruthless.
Yes, I agree.
I was just going to say, back to your question about the enemy. For me, just my truth is the enemy is me. We are our own enemies. And, you talked about how your friends came back and, everything was different. You heard my story about the situation from last week of finding the undercurrent of what was going on in the cells that caused this conflict in my family. And when I resolved that and dissolved that within me, automatically everything changed on the outside. So it's cause and effect. And again, going back to everything's an inside job, people won't just automatically change, because of something they did externally. It's about us and what we do internally that causes the change that we get in our patterns.
Which comes from the faith that it's actually possible because of God for me and for
Because the
other reasons for
DNA
other
and the
people.
technology is already here to be accepted everywhere I go. I am celebrated. I'm
Not only for you, but for all the people that you've ever had sex with are going to have benefits from that.
And all your children. And all your children.
I couldn't resist that. I was going to say children, but I was like, you know what? She also said that it stays with the people.
Well,
and that's so true. Wow.
well, the thing is, cause and effect is real, and going,
Oh, yeah.
you know, you like to talk about scripture. We wrestle not against flesh and blood. That word wrestle means vibrate. It's in the Bible, and it's in there several times. God is an energy, and God is in our technology, and that's what is felt and projected when we project it, if we choose to. So, I mean,
He's omnipresent
yeah,
and he's omnipotent.
yep, and all the things when we remember. Now, if we don't, then we are just asleep to it, and it's not a big deal. But I love what Jen was talking about with laughter, because on a neuroscience level, when we present things with laughter, it's been proven that you can either, you know, completely like freak out someone into shock and then present information and it's received, or have the delivery system of laughter.
Yeah.
And with laughter, it eases the body, it eases the nervous system, and people automatically are in a open receiving mode. So, you know, think about like JP and some of these other guys
I love
who are out
him.
there just being brilliant with sarcasm
fun.
and laughter, but they're presenting information in a funny way where people can maybe watch it because it's funny and then go, oh my gosh, she's right.
He's right. Yeah.
So, you know, laughter is huge in a neuroscience way. But
For
again,
sure.
we are the cause and effect.
Yeah.
We can create as moms and as dads, because God has no gender. Although I'm with you 100 billion% about this ridiculous he, she, it, and having to tell everyone. And I just saw a commercial for Cinderella, the new Cinderella Disney show or movie that's coming out, and the godmother in this new one that's coming out is literally a trans man dressed in a dress. To our young people, you know, and or I've heard you talk, Jen, about like certain stores, I'm not going to name, that have like rainbow stuff on their pet supplies now because somehow animals are gay. This is so ridiculous. And you know, I know you guys got to go, and so, but I just want to leave it as love is a boundary. And love means holding the line of what love is. Not any distortion, not the lies, not the deception, not illness, not, you know, hatred, not wicked, not any of these things, but love is God, who is all the positive things that we are in ourselves when we remember. And if we remember, again, going back to my book, I'm telling you guys, the science of miracles, there's a science to it. And that's why even the mindset, going back to the mindset, when we set our mind on Christ, why does the scripture say to set our mind on Christ? Because it takes an act. It's not going to default. And we're not going to just be automatically in that. We have to make a choice in setting our mind. And you may have to set it 50 times an hour. But whatever it takes is whatever it takes. And when we do, oh my God, the miracles that people send back to me when they've made those choices, whether it's through families or ideas or beliefs or finances or partnership, we can create all of that. And we do create all of that.
Yeah. Beautiful. Any closing words, Jen?
I'm really blessed to just be receiving. And, you know, this is all, it's like the classroom of the universe here. And again, you know, it is remembering who we are and not being negligent anymore. As the mama bear, we have really left our station and someone came in and they took our place, and we can't be mad. We have to take our place. And when we come with authority, and like the science and everything behind it. Nobody can deny if let me tell you something. If a grandmother walked into one of those libraries while that drag queen was reading to the children and had all these,
Oh, that would be
now my
handled.
grandmother was alive today, my little grandmother named Little Ruby. If she had heard something like that, are you serious? Her generation, they would have gone up there and they would have drug him out, probably, and spanked him, taken him to the shed and spanked him. That's how bold they were. They were fearless. They'd have their little bags, their little lady handbags, and probably beat him out of the library. You can see it in your mind, and you know it's true. I know you come from a line of women that were that bold. They're not afraid. And see, that's the problem, the fear. You know, anything done out of fear is lack, you know, so all the decisions, even, and I want to speak to anybody right now, this is on my heart. If you're out there and you are carrying a child, okay, hear my words. If you're carrying a child right now, you just found out you're pregnant and you're wondering because the world is crazy, it's a clown show, and you're thinking, how am I going to bring a child into this world? I want you to consider this. I'm not telling you what to do with your body, okay? I'm saying you may be carrying, and I know you are, because you conceived in this crazy time. We need your child, okay? And we don't need them like they need them. The world needs your child. If you conceived a child right now in the craziness, that child is special. We need your child to come forward and clean this world up and build this world to a place where it's balanced. And your child is coming through for that reason. Now, if you make a decision out of fear, and you allow somebody to get in your ear and start a whispering campaign about how you don't have any money anymore because you lost your job because we're in inflation and that clown is in the White House. If you're worried about all that, that's fear, and you have to rebuke it. And you have to repent, like Dr. Sharnael said. Do not make any decision, especially one like that, out of fear. That means a lack. You're letting somebody tell you that you don't have something, and you do. You have everything to bring that life forward. And I'm just going to tell you, there is hope for you and that child. That is a child, a human being. Now, I want you to just consider that however you're feeling now, you're not going to be feeling that way even tomorrow, the next day, or a month or year from now. So please don't make a decision for a temporary situation that is going to impact you. And trust me, it will. They don't tell you that part. They just put you in and out, and you don't get any treatment in terms of counseling. So I'm going to just tell you, you'll have a lifelong trauma that you didn't have to have.
Right.
So please consider that right now. Make your decision in love. In love.
Yeah.
It's abundance.
No, that is the most beautiful way to end because there is nothing more precious than life. And really and truly, it shows you that you can make a choice that's going to make you live in haunted earth, or you can make a choice that's going to bring you to the kingdom. And that's how you leave haunted earth. That's the secret. You go to the kingdom, you know, you focus, you set your mind, like Dr. Sharnael said, and you use your mama bear voice. So thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
Thanks everybody for coming. Anyone that was here, really appreciate you guys.
Thank you so much. And just continue to be new earth architects. That's what we're here for. Let's create something. We're doing it anyway. Why not? We might as well create something good while we're here, right?
That's right.
Do it.
Bye, guys.
I love it.
Bye, guys.
Bye. Love you. Take care.